Hello everyone and welcome to today's class. In today we will go into the block or the unit number 2 of the course, which is about functions. And the first topic of this block is the straight line, also known as simply the line. Okay, whenever you read line, they basically mean the straight line. We will go into 5 topics today. I mean 5 subtopics, which are these 5. We will be looking at how at what the two fundamental characteristics of a straight line are. Number 2, the 3 forms of the equation of the straight line. Number 3, how to reduce one form to another. Number 4, how to tell if two lines are parallel. And number 5, how to tell if two lines are perpendicular. Okay, so let's go over the first topics, the first 2 subtopics. So what are the fundamental characteristics of a straight line? Let's draw one line. Remember, when I say line, what I mean is straight line for simplicity. Okay, so we have a Cartesian plane right here, and I'm gonna draw 2 lines. I'm gonna label this line 1, and I'm gonna label this other line 2. Okay, so what differences can you tell between these 2 lines? Well, very simply, line 1 is more inclined than line 2, and the interception of line 1, which is this value, the interception with the y-axis, is higher or larger than the interception of the line 2 with the same axis. Okay, when we talk about the interception of a line, we mean specifically the interception with the y-axis, because you may be thinking, well, both lines also intercept the x-axis right there and right there, and you are correct. These also are called interceptions. But this is when you want to talk about these interceptions, you have to specifically add the x component. Okay, this is the interception in the x-axis, and this is the interception in the x-axis. This is the interception in the y-axis, the interception in the y-axis. But if you only say interception without any to any axis, what you mean is the interception with the y-axis. Okay, why is this so? I don't know. Okay, it's probably historical reasons. There is not a good answer for that. Okay, so these are the 2 characteristics of a line: the inclination, which is also called slope, and the interception with the y-axis, or simply interception. Now, how do we get those 2 things? Well, the slope, as you must remember from your periods in junior high, the slope is written with an M, represented by the letter M, and what this is the inclination of each of these lines. Now, how do we get this inclination? By doing the following. I'm going to extend this line a little bit. That's okay. So how do we get this M, this slope? What we do is this. You take any 2 points in the straight line. Any, it doesn't matter which ones. And you label them. One is 0.1 and one is 0.2. Which one is 0.1 and which one is 0.2 makes no difference. So I'm going to label this 0.1, and I'm going to say that its coordinates are x1, y1. And obviously this will be 0.2, and its coordinates will be x2, y2. So once you have established 2 points on your line, the slope is written or calculated in this way. You probably remember this formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, And I need to tell you this, what this number means, all of this number, y2 minus y1, what does that mean geometrically? It means the following. Look at what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna form this rectangle in here. This is a right angle triangle. Did I say rectangle? I meant triangle. Okay, so this triangle. And you must remember that this is known as the run, and this part is known as the rise. Okay, so when you move from this point to this other point, you can do it by running horizontally a little bit and then rising vertically a little bit, right? Okay, so this number y2 minus y1, all of this number is actually the rise. It's the length of this side of this triangle, and this other number x2 minus x1 is the run. Okay, so this is how we get the slope. Now, how do we get the interception with the y-axis, which is normally called b? Well, it's just the number in which the line intercepts that axis. Okay. All right. So we know what the slope is and how to get it, and we know what the interception of a line is. Now, let me go to the three forms of the equation of a line. Okay, the first form of the equation will be the following. Y equals mx plus b, where m means the slope and b means the interception with the y-axis, or simply the interception. So why is this useful? Because you can write the equation of a line if you know these two numbers. For example, suppose that we have a certain line such that its slope is 2 and its interception with the y-axis is 1. Then I can write its equation in this way. Y equals 2, because that's the slope, x plus 1. This would be the equation of such line in what we know as the slope interception form. This is the first form of the equation, the slope interception form. Why is it called this way? Because we have the slope and because we have the interception. The second form of the equation will be this. When we have a point and the slope of a line. So if we know that, if we know a point and we know the slope, we can write this equation. Okay, where again m is the slope of the line, and these two numbers x1 and y1 are the coordinates of a point that we know belongs to such line. For example, let's suppose the following. You know that for a particular line the slope is 3, and we know that the point 1, 2 belongs to such line. Then how do we write the equation if we know this and this? Okay, we just have to follow this form of the equation. We have to fill in the data. Okay, I'm gonna write y minus y1. But what is y1? It's the coordinate y of the point that we know, in this case 2, equals the slope, which is known to be 3, times x minus x1. But what is x1? It's the x coordinate of the point that we know. So this would be the equation of the line with this characteristic and this characteristic. And this is known as the point slope form. Why? Because we have a point and the slope. Okay, and finally, the more general type of equation of a line is the following. When you have something like this, a times x plus b times y plus c equals 0. In this specific form, okay, that is one number times x plus another number times y plus another number without any variable equals to 0. This is known as the general form of the form. The slope interception form, the point slope form, and the general form. And we can get from any one to the other by some algebraic processes. And I'm going to show you how this works. So now let's go into the third subtopic, how to reduce one form of the equation to any other. And let me give you an example. I'm just going to give you one example. I think that's enough. So let's suppose that I give you this equation. I'm going to keep it very simple, a very simple equation. So this equation represents a line, and this equation is in the slope. Why? Because we have the slope and we have the interception. Okay, so what if I want to change this equation so that now it looks in this form, which was the point slope form? How can I change this to look like this? That is y minus some number equals the slope times x minus another number. Well, it's quite simple. First, you must realize we already have the slope. The slope is 2. So in a moment later, this number will be already written as 2. Okay? And so the only thing that we need is one of the points that belongs to this line. So how can I find any one of those points? It's very simple. What you have to do is just this. Give x any value you want. I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to keep it as x equals 1. And next, what you have to do is replace such value of x into this equation. So I'm going to do it here. X is equal to 1, so this would be y equals 2 times 1 plus 1. And what do we get out of this? We get that y equals 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So what does this tell me? This tells me that the point 1, comma 3, this point belongs to this line. Okay? So we already have a point that belongs to this line. And that's all we need in order to complete or to substitute all the information in here. Because now we can do this. Y minus y1, which is this coordinate of the point that we know, equals the slope, which is 2, times x minus the x coordinate of the point that we know, which is 1. And that's it. This equation is also the equation of this same line. The equations look different, but they in fact represent the same line. Now, you could have also done any other choice for x, and you would have gotten a different result for y, and that would be perfectly okay. You can have many equations look different, but in the end is the same. Let me do it very quickly. What if we would have chosen x equals 3, let's say. So I substitute y equals 2 times 3 plus 1, and then y is going to be 7, right? Okay, so let me write another equation in the point slope form, but now with this point 3 comma 7. So that would be y minus 7 equals, the slope remains the same, times x minus 3. This equation, even though it looks different to this one and to this one, are in fact the same. All these three equations represent the same line. They only look different. That doesn't mean that they are different. When I write something like this looks different than this, but this is the same as this, okay? Okay, so now let's go backwards. Once we have this one of these equations in the point slope form, how do we go backwards to this form? That's even simpler. I'm gonna do it in blue. I'm gonna choose this one. Okay, all you have to do is this. I'm gonna write it down, and all you have to do is do some algebra, like multiplying this 2 times this parenthesis, and then leaving the y alone in the left side. So y equals to x minus 2 plus 3, and then y equals to x minus 2 plus 3 plus 1. So as you can see, we got back to the original equation, which was that. Okay, so this equation, I have proven to you that this equation is in fact the same as that equation, which was the one at the beginning. Okay, so that's how you go from this form, the slope, the point slope form, into the slope interception point. Okay, so now I'm gonna use again the same equation. How do I turn this into looking like the general form, which is this? Some number times x plus some number times y plus some number alone equals 0. Well, that's even simpler. All you have to do is, I'm gonna say the word, okay? You have to pass everything to the left side. Everything, okay? Remember that pass is not a good word, but I said it, so never mind. So let's do that. Let's have all my terms on the left side of the equation. So this is gonna be this way: y minus 2x minus 1 equals 0, and then I just rearrange this. First the term with the x, so minus 2x, and then the term with the y plus y, and then this equals 0. So this equation is already in the form of this, if you can see it, right? How much for this particular equation, how much is a? A is minus 2. How much is b? B is 1. And how much is c? C is minus 1. So this is already written in the general. So all you have to do is take the slope interception point and pass everything to the other side, or having the right side with a 0. Okay, now again, how do we go from this form, which is the general form, to the original equation, which is this, the slope interception equation? Well, you reverse the process. You're gonna do this: y equals to x plus 1. It's that simple, okay? Let me give you another example, a more complicated example. Suppose that you have this equation in general form. 2x plus 3y minus 1 equals 0. How do we convert this into the slope interception form? Okay, let's start. So first I'm gonna have these two terms on the right side. So I'm gonna have 3y equals minus 2x plus 1. Make sure that you understood what I did. It's very simple. Okay, and next we have to divide over 3 both sides. If I do it on the left side, I get y, and if I do it on the right side, I'm gonna get minus 2x plus 1 over 3. And if I divide each of these terms by 3, I get minus 2x over 3 plus 1/3. And this can also be written as y equals minus 2/3 of x. I don't know if you knew that you can write this as this plus 1/3. And we are done. Because if you look at this equation, look at it. Y equals this number times x plus another number, which is the same shape that this has. Y equals some number times x plus another number. So in here, we have discovered that the slope is minus 2/3 and the interception is 1/3. So that's how you convert one form to the other. And with practice, you will get very familiar with this.